Hello and welcome to Avenging Past 7. This is day 245 of our free-to-play farming account where we've been following the APGains farming guide. I haven't said that full statement in a while, so I thought I'd go ahead and catch up on that. I actually just looked, and we are just about 2 months away from having been making these videos for a full year, with me having missed probably about 50 days or so along the way, and probably will miss a few more by the time we get to September 9th. But I don't feel like that's too bad, and things happen, and it's okay to take some breaks every once in a while. Y'all had some awesome comments yesterday, so thank you for all those comments. Um, we will start with Ewok Enroll. Um, he said that he prefers the 3v3 Grand Arena. And I thought about it, and I responded to him, but I thought about it, and I think that the main reason I think that I do not like 3v3 Grand Arena is that most of my roster is surrounding a 5v5 team. And so if I was to start collecting the 3v3 characters that are built around the 3v3 and have Amis for it, then I think that I would enjoy 3v3 a lot more, which I think I've been noticing with my main account. I have Vader built up well, I have Wampa built up well, I have SWGOH built up well, and the three of those are all characters that can solo a 5v5 team for the most part. And so when you put them in a 3v3 battle, it's even easier for Vader to solo. It's even easier for Wampa to solo teams because there's less people to attack them. And I'm starting to work on Traya, Scion, and Nihilus very, very slowly. But I'm starting to get them up there. That way I can put some Sith with Savage Opress whenever I use him. And, some of those are built around the 3v3 Ami. So I think that that's helping me enjoy 3v3 a little bit more. And so, because they've been making more and more characters so that 3v3 is better. But I still think there's so many teams that are built around the 5v5 that's why I prefer that more. Another awesome comment is from Sir Maxim, asking for me to talk about what games I played when I was young and what I think about them today. And that I think is a interesting comment, more so than what I've talked about before, because I feel like a lot of times before, which maybe not everyone has seen anyways, I've talked about games that meant a lot to me as a kid and changed my view or kind of created my view towards video games. Of course, first video games I remember playing, I know that we had an NES, and I remember playing Super Mario Bros. But I think one of the biggest video games I remember playing as a kid that meant something was Lego Star Wars 3 or Lego Star Wars Revenge of the Sith on Game Boy. I remember loving that game. And eventually Lego Star Wars Complete Saga on the Wii. But even, I think right around the same time as the one for Game Boy, I remember playing Star Wars Battlefront on the Xbox. And that was really cool. I really enjoyed that one. What I think was, let's see, grab the right one. It was awesome seeing Star Wars as a video game. And I remember the Star Wars Phantom Menace game on the PlayStation. We had that. I believe that we had Jedi Starfighter. I think Jedi Starfighter. But that one didn't mean as much to me because I didn't understand it as much as a kid. But Star Wars Battlefront, I think, is what kind of showed me the coolest aspects of Star Wars as a video game. And I remember playing on Bespin with my dad and with my brother, and that made it really cool. And then of course when Battlefront 2 came out, that was just a whole nother way of it being really cool. And when my dad found out that you could play on Mos Eisley as only Jedi and Sith, and he showed that off to us. That was one of the coolest things. And just recently, I went. My dad pulled out an original Xbox and wanted to test a whole bunch of controllers he bought recently on it. So we popped in Star Wars Battlefront 1. And so those are some games that I played when I was younger that meant something to me. But to answer the second part of his question, what do I think of them today? It was interesting playing Battlefront 1 again today. The controls were so clunky, might be the right word. Um, Looking left to right, looking up and down, it was so in a line, if that makes sense. You looked left to right or you looked up and down. There wasn't much angular or circular movement in the looks, and there could probably was some, but it was very slow, um, and I would say boxy or clunky, blocky or clunky might be the right words. Compared to playing Star Wars Battlefront EA Battlefront 2, and the movement is so much smoother in that one. Aiming is so much easier in that one. Comparing it to Halo today and stuff like that. So it's interesting seeing how map design was so different back then compared to today, how movement and abilities were so different compared from then to today. And I think that it's easy to get so spoiled on video games that we have today with the amount of content in them, the amount of testing that goes into them, a lot of the time, some of the time, um, and the advancements we've had in video games today compared to 20 something years ago, and seeing just how basic video games used to be, but at the same time, just how fun they can be. The other couple weeks ago, I got to play Duck Hunt for the first time on a CRT TV, um, with the original game, original NES, and the original gun controller. And it was really cool just how fun that game is, but at the same time, just how simple it is. It's just waves of the ducks coming through, and you're shooting them or trying to shoot them. And but it was still such a fun game to play. But it was so basic. A game like that could never be sold today. It would have to just be either a couple dollars or free, with just how little content is in the game, but it's fun. I don't have enough for that. So there's some thoughts on that, on video games, my thoughts on them from the past. I think that there are a lot of games that would be worth remaking. I think that there are a lot of games that people have tried to replicate, but they struggled to. EA Battlefront being some of them. EA has struggled so much to make a good game, and I'm so glad that the Star Wars licensing for video games is now open to anyone. It's not just that anyone can make a game, but anyone can make a deal with Disney to make a Star Wars game. Whereas before, EA had an exclusive license to Star Wars games, and that's why we only got 4 Star Wars games. I think with and it was crazy to see. Someone made a graphic at one point that showed that in the amount of time that we got Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Squadrons, Jedi Fallen Order, I think just those 4 video games, and the amount of time that it took for those 4 games to come out from EA, we had gotten like 12 or 13 video games from LucasArts. It was crazy to see, and some of those games were some of the best Star Wars games. We got both of the Force Unleashed games from that. We got the um, Jedi Knight and Jedi Knight Academy games. We got, um, oh, what's it called? Let me look at my Steam library. We got, let's see, yeah, Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. We got the Lego Star Wars game. We got Battlefronts. Um, what's the Clone Trooper one? Oh, I'm gonna hate myself for forgetting it. Republic Commando, and we got this Jedi Starfighter and Starfighter game. I mean, we got so many games from LucasArts, and in that same time, we got 4 games from EA. Now, sure, games are more complicated now than they used to be, but also EA's a pretty big company. They should have been able to start so many different companies beneath them making games for Star Wars and making sure they're good instead of what we got. Um, let's see, we need to sign up for Grand Arena is what we need to do. So, but there's today's video. I don't know if I have much else to say. I probably will at some point. Maybe tomorrow we'll think through it again. But with all that said, I hope that you enjoyed it. Please comment down below if you're still along this far through, and comment some of the games that were important to you as a child and what you think of them today, having hopefully replayed them recently. Y'all have a fantastic day, and may the Force be with you.